Hello everyone and welcome to Cover 2 TV. I'm Steve, this is Chris, and we're here to talk about all the NFL goodness that you can handle. Chris...
First off, big changes in the studio, Steve.
I didn't want to bring this up. Chris, unbeknownst to me, just sneaked into the studio one day and changed the shirt behind us from my Brett Favre one to...
It's a splash of colour though, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
A splash of something,
a little bit of nice yellow and purple. There's nothing wrong with that.
So where's my shirt here? So what we've decided, because we were arguing about this for literally minutes, we're gonna, at the end, so you'll hear me and Chris are going to be doing a little bit of a picks competition each and every week, and basically whoever wins each week will get their shirt up there behind us. So Brett Favre will be back next week, don't worry about that.
Not a chance, mate.
I might bring one of my Aaron Rodgers shirts in or something, we'll see. It's better than that, wide receiver 2.
Wide receiver 2? Are you kidding me? Number 19. I think I'm too old to say this, but put some respect on Thielen's name, man.
Put some respect on the white receiver's name. No one does. I will.
And it's all in the gloves, man.
It's literally cheating wearing them gloves, but it's fine. It's already started. As you can, anyone who is new to the show, I'm a Packers fan. Chris is a Vikings fan, and our two teams are playing each other this week. Basically, the format of the show this year, what we're going to do, we're going to be looking ahead to a couple of games. We're going to feature a few games each every week. Whilst discussing those, we can then kind of link back to what happened in the previous week's games as well. Like I said at the end, we'll have our little picks competition, which I will win.
Where did you finish last season?
Yeah, don't worry about that. It's fine.
Just behind me again.
That yellow shirt might be there for like 16 weeks. It wouldn't surprise me. So Chris, like I said before, we're gonna feature a couple of games, and well, it's our show, so we can talk about what we want, and we've decided Vikings Packers, because we might as well do 2 hours on it. Obviously, it's very early for our teams to be meeting.
Yeah.
It's the earlier kickoff at 6 o'clock UK time on Sunday at Lambeau. How are you feeling?
I was feeling terrible from Friday through Saturday until around about 5:59 p.m. I was dreading this game because I'd seen the Packers game, and I thought, for the first time in ages, I've seen a Packers team with a D, and that got me a little bit worried and stuff. And look, they were going up against a very good Chicago Bears defense, but they weren't great offensively. And then the Vikings came out and we started, and I was just like, Dalvin Cook's just ran for 30 yards. Dalvin Cook running for another 20 yards. Another 30. And I was like, I've got nothing to be worried about at the moment, because that offense clicked, and it was because of Dalvin Cook, because of that running game. And I thought to myself, yeah, this is good. This is going to be a tasty game. And I know it's early on in the season, but I feel like whoever wins this game is going to put a marker down for the division.
Yeah, they're clearly the two best teams, I think. And again, no disrespect to the Bears, but I think their offense has got something. Again, Packers' defense was really, really, really good. And again, I was delighted. I think Aaron Rodgers was delighted that you could see in his interviews. I've never been a big Mitch Trubisky fella, I'll be honest, and I'm still not. He's a little bit Blake Bortles-ish for me. I think at some point in the NFL you have to win from the pocket, and I don't think he did that. So it might be that he was bad and the Packers' defense actually isn't brilliant. I kind of get the feeling it's not. And flip side, the Atlanta defense has been a bit rubbish for a while, and maybe some would argue maybe they made Minnesota look better, but again, I disagree with that. I think it was more what Minnesota were doing. Having said that, I would expect for Minnesota to win, they might have to pass more than 10 times. I don't think they're going to run the ball down Green Bay's throat. Now, especially because the Packers now kind of know what's coming. I think they might have caught Atlanta cold a little bit, because you prepare for Minnesota, and although they're going to be run in the Kubiak system, they're still feeling, and there's still Diggs, and there's still Cousins, and there's still Rudolph. But actually, it wasn't that. I said before the season, and I thought Thielen and Diggs might both go to 1,000 yards. It'll be tough.
Oh my God, if he's only thrown the ball 10 times a game, they've got absolutely no chance whatsoever.
So I do think, I would hope that the Packers would make Kirk Cousins have to throw more, get them into 3rd and 7s and 3rd and 8s. I'm worried about this game, I'll be honest. If it wasn't at home, I wouldn't give it any chance. I would say we're probably going to lose. We were so good defensively the other day that I can kind of see us doing that again. I wouldn't be surprised if we stuffed the run. We've actually got decent linebackers, a good front four. Kenny Clark and Gary and the Smiths. I would like to hope that we can cause a bit more than Atlanta, because Atlanta offered nothing. I mean, that one play where Vic Beasley has him sacked and then just doesn't tackle him. I would like to think that if that's one of our Smith brothers, I know they're not actually brothers, but Smith players, I would like to hope that they would smash Kirk Cousins' face in it. And that's it. Generally, I think we've got a bit of nasty about us. But Cook definitely worries me. I think it was Florida State he come through when he at college, and that was his game. He's a zone runner. He's a one cut get upfield runner.
And that's got Gary Kubiak.
Gary Kubiak's
isn't it? Now he's not the offensive coordinator. I understand that, but he is setting the philosophy. You know, he's brought in I believe he's brought in an offensive line coach as well, who's worked with him in the past and stuff like that. So when you're seeing the evolution of this Vikings offense, it is going to be one cut. It's going to be a zone read. You pick your gap. You pick what one you want to go down. That's what Dalvin Cook does. He gets into those gaps and he goes north and south dead fast, and that's what he's about. That's what he's always been about. So to get a system that suits him and that we can get the best out of him, brilliant. But I think what we're going to see over the coming weeks is we set up in week 1 to run. It worked, brilliant. So you don't need to put the ball in Kirk Cousins' hands. You've established that you can run the ball. That will open the passing game up.
Yeah, keep doing it.
Exactly, and so the more that you can get Dalvin Cook yards, and you can get sort of into these 2nd and 3s and 3rd and 1s and stuff like that, that will open the passing game up. Thielen and Diggs are still going to get the catches this season, and it's going to come off the back of the run game. The flip side last season was it was coming because there was no run game, and that was that, and then you know it's coming, so you end up in dangerous territory, don't you, because of that?
Yeah. Defensively, then, we've kind of spoke there briefly about, you know, your offense against our defense. Just flip it. The Packers offense didn't show a lot. It was pretty much 1 or 2 drives that they done. Again, the Bears played really well, and it is a new system, blah, 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 blah. Rodgers didn't have in fact, it was one of his worst games he's had for a while.
No, but when he got in sync for those couple of drives, he just went down in about 30 seconds.
When they went up tempo, and then they got Aaron Jones going a little bit at the end, Jamal Williams, Valdez-Scantling, Devontae Adams. It clicked a little bit at times. Other times it looked a bit messy.
That's what happens with new offensive coordinators and stuff, doesn't it? It does. You get a little bit scatty sometimes.
And we had no pre-season. Like, Rodgers didn't touch the ball in pre-season. He was meant to in Oakland, or when they went to Canada, but the field wasn't right and stuff. So I think maybe it's a little bit down to that. I thought Minnesota's defense was terrifying. My issue is that if you can get interior pressure, and I think you can, because Billy Turner he's a free agent sign, not right guy, and he got made a fool of at times in Chicago. I actually thought we dealt with Khalil Mack about as well as you can. Listen, Bakhtiari got a couple of holding calls and whatever, but he's playing Khalil Mack. That's going to happen at times. In that game last year, Khalil Mack wreaked absolute havoc. You know, he was all over the field. I think he returned a touchdown at one point. He was unbelievable. So we dealt with that better. But the interior will worry me. I wouldn't, you know. Well, then you might switch to Neil Hunter and get him inside, rushing from the inside, or you've got
well, you got Stephen there, you got Linval Joseph, you got Everson Griffin.
Everson Griffin terrifies me. If they move him inside, if they put him over our right guard, I would worry for Rodgers and stuff. That does concern me.
But then my big concern going into the season with the D was how are they going to age, because they are all getting up to about 30 years old and stuff. But Barr was absolutely brilliant. We know what Danielle Hunter's all about. He's an absolute sack merchant and stuff like that. We know what Harrison's got on the edge. It was actually to see the performance of Wayne on one side. I was really impressed with him again. He's quietly improving each and every game that he plays. So there's no defensive worries for us. But what we can do is we can bring pressure. And we will bring pressure, and it's about how Rodgers reacts to that. And he didn't look like he was so comfortable moving around in the pocket against the Bears for me.
There was no pocket. It was collapsing on him all the time, and that's the worry again. What I wouldn't be surprised is if we do go up tempo, like every so often they just go. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try and get Rodgers bootlegging a little bit more and just get him outside, because he's amazing on the run. And we talk about, like, the other day when, again, we played the Bears and they had Trubisky running to throw and he can't do it. He just couldn't. He for some reason, usually last season he could. It was all he could do. But this time he was so inaccurate. I think that Green Bay will try and get Rodgers out of the pocket. And what was interesting is Rodgers said after the game, the offense has got well more to it than what they showed the other day. They just felt like they couldn't do that against the Bears away from home on an opener. Maybe at home they do get a little bit more tricky, a bit more razzle-dazzle or whatever. There's a lot of motion involved in the LaFleur offense, which we didn't really see. I think most people would pick the Vikings to win this game, just based on week 1. And
it's Lambeau, though, isn't it?
But it's Lambeau, and it's a home opener. Maybe that does a little bit for you. To be honest, if you're going to go to Lambeau, you might as well go in September, by the way, rather than facing us in December. We'll get to picks later. I obviously agonise though. I'm going to pick Packers because I'm not going to pick what I want to happen. But I'll be honest, like if my money was on it, I'd probably be going Vikings, just because I think they've shown enough on both sides. Packers have only really shown enough on one. Listen, I'll trust Rodgers all day, every day, but I don't think the Bears and Vikings defense are going to be that dissimilar. I think they're both going to be top 5, and we really struggled in one. Are those going to be
the one thing that you haven't mentioned is our special teams were very good against the Falcons as well.
Ours were amazing. Yeah. Our punter was probably the MVP.
So you're looking and going, well, actually, I thought the Vikings was a very well-rounded performance. I thought defensively we were resolute. They scored a few points late on in the game. I'm sound with that. When ultimately our defense just went, we're just going to do a little bit of zone, and we're just going to do a bit of stand off here, and you can take those yards underneath because we know you're running the clock down, and we'll just meander to a finish without really struggling. And that was good to see from our point of view. Going into Lambeau though, it ain't going to be like that. And I've got something in the back of my head that says, well, yeah, that's one game. And it's one game where you probably caught the Falcons on maybe a bad offensive day as well. I don't think Matt Ryan touched the ball much of it all in pre-season either. We obviously know how good Julio Jones are, and they've got a great wide receiving core, but they weren't able to get the ball to them, were they? So for me, going into this one, I do think the Vikings are the better side, but the Packers at Lambeau, there's something about that place, there's something about that team, there's something about Rodgers, and he hates the Vikings as well. He absolutely hates us. So he'll step up his performance, and he'll want to be out there proving, he's just seeing, first of all, you had the season opener. That's a big thing in and of itself. That Thursday game where everybody's watching you, you're the first game of the season, and you didn't put an offensive performance in. Then him as a really, the complete opposite of a humble person, an absolute cockhead, is now looking at these quarterbacks, Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, and all these guys flinging the ball and scoring millions and millions of fantasy points for everybody, and he'll be like, nah man, I'm still better than all of these, and he'll believe that, and he'll want to go out there and he'll want to prove that against us.
I do think we'll pass it more, and I think they might go deep more as well. I think they will go after your secondary, and again, I think it's good, but if there's a slight weakness, that's where it's not weak, but I think the front sevens.
Well, we saw Harris made plays against the Falcons. We know about Harrison Smith, but you can catch them when we are doing maybe a safety blitz or a corner blitz.
And Rodgers is usually good at picking that up. I think he'll try and get Devontae Adams deep early, at least once or twice, just to hold that, just to stop it exactly. And then Valdez-Scantling is lightning. They had Trevor Davis who got involved the other day, so. The speed on the outside, I think that's exactly that. I think we'll try and run early, just to try and slow the pass rush down, and then go deep off it. Bit of play action, just because if you let those safety blitzers come all day, Anthony Barr, they'll eat it alive. So yeah, it'd be interesting how you go. I'm not confident, but it'll be. I think if I was a neutral watching this game, I think it'd be a really fun game. I actually quite think games where there's good defences is often better to watch. There was a lot of complaints about Bears Packers, and I thought it was a great game. I was emotionally involved there, so maybe it's different. But I thought as a neutral,
it depends what you want, though, Steve, doesn't it? Because me and you, and we're not saying we've been watching the NFL for as long as a lot of people who may watch this or anything like that, but I've been watching it now for over 20 years, not like every single game for 20 years, but I've been watching it a long time, and I can see the difference between football, European football by the way, soccer if you will, if you are. I mean, I'm watching this and how social media and the constant news 24-hour cycles change that. Red Zone's changed NFL fandom as well, I think,
and fantasy football
fantasy football. It's all about now, and it's all about big plays and all this type of stuff. I still appreciate the hard fight, the chess match that's going on between the coaches and the offense and the defense.
I think you can have low scoring games which are dreadful when there is sloppy play.
Yeah,
if it's sloppy offensive play where it's like drops and penalties. Like the other day, for example, I've watched Bucks Niners for a bit, and it was high scoring, but it was dreadful football. I think 4 touchdowns because of penalties, and it was missed. It was just like sloppy, and it was like, oh, fair enough, there's a lot of points, but I don't think it's good. I thought Packers Bears was just really good defensive play, some average quarterbacking from both of them, and which is weird to say. And I don't think it was a bad game like that. And I think I think if either team gets to 24, they've done really well. Like really, really, I think they'll win. I can't see this being any over 50 on the top.
I think unfortunately, if the two teams are getting up to that sort of 24,
it's advantage Green Bay. It's advantage Green Bay. Yeah, I agree. I think you're looking at 24 wins. If someone gets it, I think they'll win.
But it does seem to suit a Green Bay more than us. We can throw the ball to Thielen and Diggs and maybe get Rudolph in. But I think what we want is Mattison and Cook and maybe even a few little CJ Ham runs from fullback and stuff like that. That's what we want. We want to shorten the game. We want to shorten the game, mate. We want it to go as fast as fucking possible. Yeah. I want a 3-hour game because I know we're going to win it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. Let's move on then to another game that we thought we'd discuss this week. An interesting one, obviously. We're going to touch on Rams Saints later, by the way, or Saints at Rams, however you want to call it. But we've gone Redskins Cowboys for this one, Chris, and it was my choice. We were discussing this before the show, and I was amazed how good Dallas look. And again, I know they were playing the Giants, and the Giants defensively are not brilliant, and for some reason decided not to give Saquon Barkley the ball because idiot, crazy.
Really annoyed me for my fantasy team.
It wasn't the best. I think a lot of Saquon owners will agree, but Cowboys offensively, I thought were unreal. Kellen Moore's come in as the coordinator. It looks like he might be the next big thing in the offense. I don't know, but Dak looked $1 million, which is ironic because he's chasing said money. He might have made himself
chasing a bit more than that, mate.
He is, and he might have made himself a bit more as well. I see no reason why this Cowboys team can't be playing in January, February. They look amazing.
Well, they're primed for it, and they should be as well.
They've got a lot of good players.
They've got brilliant players. You look at that wide receiving core and even just compare it to 12 months ago. It's not the best wide receiving core in the league, don't get me wrong, but with the likes of Cooper there and Randall Cobb getting, you know all about Randall Cobb. He's a great possession receiver, isn't he? He's going to get you 8 yards.
Jason Witten will get you 5 yards and fall over.
Mate, he's going to love that. He's going to love that. And look, he got his touchdown, didn't he?
He did.
And you've got Zeke there, and he's the one that it all revolves around.
And that offensive line.
Yeah, of course, and that offensive line's been good. It's obviously had the changes over the last couple of years and stuff, and it had a bit of a downturn last season, maybe the season before as well. But the crux of it is they're a good running football side and they've got a good defence. Their linebacking core is absolutely superb. You can't even get the fella, I've forgotten the guy.
Sean Lee.
You can't even get him on the field no more.
Van Der Esch, Jalen Smith.
Van Der Esch is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, he is.
He's unbelievable.
He really is.
And Sean Lee's a great linebacker, but he's always fucking injured, so you need to get improved. So the linebackers are brilliant. They're a well-rounded ball club at the moment.
And looking at Dak in particular, and he's after this. The reports are he wants 40 million, and he might get close to it. I don't know. Zeke, obviously, they've just paid him. They've paid a lot of players. In fact, Smith got paid. Cooper still owed money. They've got a lot going for them. So it's almost like this might be the year because they might lose one or two. There's talk that people rumouring that they might let Dak go. I just don't see it. I just don't think you let that happen. I think whatever.
Not now. They didn't win now.
I think you get they'll get a deal done with Dak. I'm pretty sure at some point.
It won't be this season though.
Well, probably not, who knows, but it might be closer than not. But they look to me like they are a team who have, the new coach has just come in and it's pretty much the same players as I mentioned. There's a couple of issues, but it's still a line, it's still Dak, it's still Zeke, it's still Amari Cooper. Mm-hmm. But they look like so little, I don't know what it is, not as predictable as they were last year. I thought even when Zeke was running well, I still thought they were predictable last season. I thought you kind of know what they were going to do, but they mix that up. They bring the other running back in. They have Dak on the move. I think Dak's amazing on the move. I think that's his strength. And it just looks like to me and the Washington defensively, who they started well against the Eagles last week. Again, I think Jonathan Allen picked up an injury, and after that, it kind of went to shit, basically, and Carson Wentz started tearing them up, and Deshaun Jackson was running past people's heads, which you should never allow. It's mad. It's easy said than done, but don't let Deshaun Jackson run past you.
He's been doing this for 10 years, mate.
For your team as well. Yeah. You know this. I think this. If I was a Redskins fan, I would be encouraged to an extent how they started. I thought Case Keenum started really well, which is you've lived that life.
I like him.
Yeah, no, he's alright.
I just realise he's so much better than some of the other tosh that gets passed around the league. And he's clearly a clever guy as well.
Yeah.
He's had to pick up different offences, but he picks them up quickly.
Yeah, he does, and I thought he looked alright. He looked like they had weapons. Obviously, Geis goes down injured, doesn't he? And then obviously, where's Adrian Peterson not playing, which caused issues, and maybe he does play this week, I don't know.
And the rumours are that the captains around the club are really unhappy that Peterson, are almost guaranteed first round Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Famer, is not getting. They think it's disrespectful that he's not getting fucking minutes or plays or whatever. You know what I mean? So I wonder whether that changes.
Yeah, and if he comes, if he's going to play, but then like even the receivers, I mean, I must admit, I didn't know much about Terry McLaurin, sorry.
McLaurin,
yeah, and he goes and was it 5. I've got here 525. Vernon Davis catches a touchdown.
Oh my God, did you see that touchdown?
He's not bad, is he?
My word, lad, rolling back the years.
It was vintage Vernon, and obviously Quinn. Again, I didn't know. I'll be honest.
Quinn,
I didn't know a lot. I didn't know a lot about Trey Quinn before this. I'll be honest. That first half was really good. Again, they kind of got caught up by. I think the Eagles, like I picked them to win the Super Bowl, so I was a little bit shocked when I saw it, but I thought Washington were going to be one of the worst teams in the league. I'll hold my hand to them and say it. They might give a few a bloody nose, and at home against the rival, I mean, I wouldn't. I will pick Dallas when we get to the picks later. Don't get me wrong, I think they're a better team, but I don't think anyone's going to go to Washington and get an easy out, just because. Again, I think they're in a bad position, Washington, because I don't think they've got too many stars, but then they're kind of too good to tank. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I felt, which is why I thought maybe they're going to be like a 5-win team or something like that. A bit like Miami always were between 5 and 8. I was thinking more towards the 5 end because I didn't trust the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. I think they have the potential to give people a bloody nose. I think at home they might well do that, but I think for me what it does come down to, and I do like Case Keenum, I really do. I enjoyed what he did at the Vikings. There are too many mistakes still.
Yeah.
And he needs to put them to bed if they want to be able to go and improve with the players that they've got ultimately, because he's not got lads like DeAndre Hopkins and Julio Jones that he's throwing to that are going to win contested catches, and he had Thielen and he had Diggs who were able to do that.
He struggled in Denver, didn't he, without that kind of stuff.
Without that, yeah. Sometimes he's the type of quarterback who needs someone that you can just throw it and know that the receiver's going to win a contested catch. It doesn't strike me that he's got those guys.
Yeah, and on the flip side, they weren't able to run the ball particularly well. Obviously, I'm just looking at the stats here. In fact, it was pretty ordinary, to be fair. It was Geis went 10 for 18 and Thompson 3 for 10. Thompson actually did better in the passing game.
Chris Thompson.
Yeah, he done better. He was catching a lot of passes. And that's where I thought he kind of hurt Philadelphia a little bit, those intermediate passes. But we spoke before about the Cowboys linebackers. I don't think the Cowboys linebackers are having fits about Chris Thompson. I think they'll know we might be able to beat him to the edge, or if he gets to the edge off a dump off, we'll be there to get him. Smith and Van Der Esch, you mentioned, they're probably thinking we'll fancy our chances there.
Look, he's obviously decent, but he's no Alvin Kamara that you'd actually have to scheme an entire defence around, is he? You know what I mean?
But I don't think this will be a blowout win. I don't think, I thought the Giants were terrible. I mean, the scoreline kind of flattened them a little bit. I think Dallas looked really, really good, and if they can go 2-0 with 2 division wins, bear in mind, the Eagles haven't got the easiest game in Atlanta. Again, they would probably be slight underdogs. Sorry, they'll be probably favourites to win that. They'll be favourites, but it's not an easy outcome to Atlanta. I mean, the Cowboys are in prime position to, again, 2 division wins, put down a marker. Because I remember we've seen Dallas in recent years, the really good Dallas teams, like, before you know it, they were like 8-2 or like 10, and they're rolling towards those first seeds. And I think the fact that they've got their line back together, the offensive line, is huge. Like Travis Frederick, thankfully, back from his illness, and I know Martin was injured, but he looked better, didn't he? Obviously, they've got Smith, who's just out of this world good. It's hard to pick anything against Dallas, other than my thinking was always the head coach is a bit of a clown.
But he seems to have surrounded himself with the right people.
Exactly, and defensive. Obviously, if Kellen Moore is the real deal, and again, he's one game into his career, it might be one of those. He had a summer to prepare for it. Let's see with a week on the road. But I think Dallas. I picked the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, and I'm going to stick with it. But my word, they might not even win their own division because Dallas look legit.
I say this is I would say that the Cowboys win this by over 10 points.
Okay, I think I'll be closer than that. But I'm not. Yeah. I don't know, to be honest, I don't think it's... I think they'll win. I'm not sure how easy it will be. It might be kind of what happened the other day, where Redskins hang around, but ultimately the better team kind of pulls away at the end.
Happened a lot.
I mean, yeah, Carson Wentz was unreal. Maybe that can be the same. the last time the Rams and the Saints played, Chris?
Yeah, it was a championship game, wasn't it?
It was, and there was
something happened.
Yeah, and I think there's people in New Orleans still trying to take people to court over it and stuff. Yeah, one of them.
Respect that.
Yeah, all the best with that.
Hold them grudges.
I can get behind that type of
I'm still fuming at that cafe that served me cold beans 5 years ago. I'm not even going to mention it because I don't want them to have any business.
Yeah, I'm quite happy for people to be very, very, very judgmental and petty. So fill your boots, keep complaining. I still some calls from games with the Packers and the fact that I hold dear and close to my heart. But this one again,
they've wounded you, isn't it?
Oh, they hurt me so bad. So first thing to say is that the Saints play an absolute worldy game. Like one of the best games I've seen against the Texans.
It's not a week one game, that.
It was really good. It was. I mean, it was just two quarterbacks, two offenses just going ahead. A couple of defensive stops.
But it didn't look like it was going to be that type of a game.
Not fair.
Because just Drew Brees couldn't get anything going, and I was watching it to begin with, and I'm going, God, he's throwing these balls really low and short for these receivers, and I'm starting to have those thoughts. I was
getting Peyton Manning last season. Before, and again, it's mad to say that because he went and won a Super Bowl, but he was done. And I was thinking,
did you just see the ball just dipping at the end of the throws, and you're like,
it was throwing goose eggs,
God, man, what's going on here? And I'm not like, I think some people think like when I describe it anyway, you know. And what I maybe used to think was when their arms go, and it's not that they can't throw the ball deep, it's just that it takes a little bit longer to actually get there.
And it dies on your receivers.
And it dies right at the end. And you'd see man, and he could still throw the ball 40 yards.
Just slowly.
But he's not throwing it ahead of the receiver. The receiver's getting to the spot before the ball's there. That's what losing your arm is to me now.
I agree. And it didn't go, I mean, whatever happened at half time, I don't know, but it was amazing. So fair play to both teams, and, you know, when they missed
that extra point at the end, I was like, oh my fucking God, what is going on here?
Got a dodgy penalty.
And the way that Breeze managed that clock to get down there, and he clocked it once, and then he had the timeout with 2 seconds to go, and you're like, that's the difference. That's the difference between those two quarterbacks. One's been there before, he's done it, he's won it, and he understands, and he's experienced.
I thought Houston made it easy for him as well. They gave him that soft coverage. I mean, did he think Drew Brees was going to throw a helmet? I would love to have Drew Brees throwing a helmet there. When they played that off coverage, I think they were thinking, we'll let them take a 50-yard field goal. And to be fair, Will Lutz indoors is one of the best kickers. I thought the Texans got that one wrong, but listen, you're splitting hairs. Having said that, it's a different kettle of fish now going on the road to LA. The Rams Panthers, I thought, again, both played well at times. I wondered this year, Chris, if LA were going to come out and do something different. You know, are they going to change it? Are they going to scheme it up? Are we going to see more running backs? Are we going to see tight ends? No.
Well, I think they will.
It was just they love that 11 personnel. It's one running back, one tight end, three wide receivers.
They'll run the same 3 plays, and that's about it.
And nothing changed.
Well, there's no need. But what I think will change is week to week. So they might come up against the team that they fancy last week and go, we're going to stick with that 11 personnel. I'm going to do that because they're not going to be able to stop us. But they had no backup when it didn't work last season, and it only didn't work in one game, remember? So I think things will change. I just don't think they'll do it every single week.
It might be later down the line. And Todd Gurley, they spotted Todd Gurley, and it was Malcolm Brown. People thought, would it be Henderson or Brown? It's clearly Brown's he's not number 1. He's like the 1A. The 1B to Gurley, he's 1A. When the game was on the line, it was still Todd Gurley who was running the ball, but they're obviously looking after Gurley and the knee and stuff.
And that makes sense as well.
Absolutely.
But also, like, how does Sean McVay, how is he now? Is he going to be saying, right, we're going to have to scheme differently for each individual games?
It doesn't.
I think they might do.
Yeah, I don't know. I disagree. I don't think he will. I think he just plays his game. I think that's they are what they are, kind of thing, and they'll work out as they go through.
We didn't see much of Cup, did we?
He was involved, but he wasn't like there weren't that many big plays. Full stop, really, were they? It was.
Wood seemed to be the guy that he was looking for.
I'm a big fan. If you're a Rams fan, having seen what Christian McCaffrey did to them, and listen, he was out of this world. How good he was, running between tackles as well.
And you called that last week.
Fingers crossed. That my Russian champion could be a good bet. He caused them fits. He did. You know,
he'll cause a lot of team fits.
He will, but then Alvin Kamara's not bad either. If I'm a Saints fan, and my game plan will be, I want to feature Alvin Kamara a lot on the road in LA. I think you've got to go run heavy, and it isn't always the Saints' way to do that. But what you mentioned before was shortening the game and running the clock. We haven't really associated with that with the Saints, but
no, but they've had, they had Ingram last season. They've got Latavius Murray, a player I know really well, and he's very good at doing that.
I think they've got to do it. Run and try and get out. Aaron Donald, as brilliant as he is, he's not disciplined in his run defence. He just doesn't care. That's not his job. So there are often gaps, and McCaffrey exploited them to an extent, and in fact, pretty very, very well. He had an amazing game, and he was good in the passing game. And Alvin Kamara's, I imagine most people will prefer Kamara over McCaffrey, so he's the key, I think. I don't know if you agree. If the Saints are going to win, I think they probably need a big Alvin Kamara game.
Yeah, I think they do, to be honest. I think, I think the thing that started the Saints offense at the weekend just gone was probably just a little 5-yard pass to Alvin Kamara that he ran for 30 yards, and that seemed to kickstart everything then. And he always seems to be how they seem to get going. Yeah. So for me, it is about that. It's about using, but I'd like to see Alvin Kamara in the run game more. Yeah. Actually hand off to him, try and get outside the tackle and stuff. Use Latavius Murray to go inside the tackle, keep them honest, and then that opens up then for maybe a little bit of play action, maybe utilising
bit of Taysom Hill.
Exactly. Taysom Hill was a wide receiver at points. Catches a fucking touchdown.
He did. So he threw a block, didn't he, as well, to save the sack. Yeah, it was unreal.
But I don't like what he does with Taysom Hill, if I'm perfectly honest, because he puts them in some situations and you think he's just better for this. And I think that 99% of the time when he's in the Wildcat, he does just dump it off now. It's never a pass; it's always a run.
Yeah.
And I think he just gives the ball to Kamara.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just to help him spot Drew Brees a little bit as well. I don't know what it is. Maybe there's a reason. Keeping defenses honest again. I think it's a little bit much at times, but listen, it's worked so far, hasn't it? Maybe he might just be a wide receiver. I don't know, maybe a tight end. I don't know. We didn't really see.
He's definitely not taking over from Brees. I don't see that he does.
Yeah. You? Like if Brees goes and Hill's the quarterback, I could see it.
Could you?
In a little bit of a Lamar Jackson-y world.
Are we going to be sat here in 2 years' time talking about the 4-headed running monster that is the New Orleans Saints? They got 3 backs and Taysom Hill.
Listen, I don't know. It wouldn't be a shock. I think Sean Payton's a bit nuts, and I think maybe he just tries it and see how it goes. I don't know. I think this is going to be a really, really, really good game. We spoke there predominantly about what the Saints will do. The Rams are going to be what the Rams are. Do you think the Saints' defense is good enough to stop it? Bear in mind that they looked good at times against Houston, but there were some plays where he could. I'm not sure that Goff can do the things that Watson was doing.
No, he can't.
In fact, I'm not sure. I know he can't.
Watson can flick his wrist. The ball travels 70 yards in the air.
There isn't a Nuke Hopkins. There's not. They've got some good wide receivers, but there's no elite, the best of the best.
But what the difference there is,
they'll scheme you to bits.
Yeah, exactly. Bill O'Brien's a great offensive mind. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of that is on the quarterback.
It's on talent and big plays and stuff.
McVay will make sure those openings are there.
And as I say, I think the Saints.
Cooks is probably going to have a fucking big game against his old club, by the way.
Yeah. It's more again. It's not going to be. That's my point. It's not going to be the same as what it was against the Texans. It's going to be more scheme and plays running open and the McVay system. What did you make of the Saints defense overall? I thought Lattimore had a decent game, but at times there's just stuff you can't do much about when their quarterback does those things. And Nuke Hopkins is laying out for some catches. You kind of have to just shrug your shoulders.
To be honest, to begin with, Nuke Hopkins had 3 drops.
Dropping it, yeah.
Something like that, and you're thinking, bloody hell, this is going to be a long game if he's going to be doing this. But then I think they were up at the time anyway.
Kenny Stills comes in and looks good. And they ran well. I thought that Hyde and Johnson looked really good, which you mentioned before about Brown and Gurley. That could be a bonus for the Rams as well.
I think the Saints will bring a lot of pressure in this game. I think that if I'm looking at the LA Rams, I'm looking at their running backs and I'm looking at Gurley and obviously they're spotting them now with Malcolm and stuff. And that's not really a weakness. What is the weakness here? Because I think they've got really good wide receivers. I really like Cooks and Woods, and I really love Cup as well. I think he's absolutely brilliant. And I'm looking at him. The weakness is still Goff, and I think he's a really good quarterback, and I think he's actually a little bit underrated. But if you get him under pressure, I think you can get mistakes out of him. Yeah. And for me, that's the player that I'd be pinpointing.
It's a bit risky biscuit kind of thing. Got to bring the pressure and hope it works. Yeah. And rather than let them just dice you open, see if you can cause an issue. I agree. Right then, Chris, we mentioned before our pick-em competition. It's me versus you this year.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Basically, it's got the prize each week is we get to have our chairs behind us. We'll run through every game of the week, just a quick little pick who you pick and why kind of thing. Thursday night football, again, it might be finished by the time you guys are watching this, so apologies in advance, but Panthers hosting the Bucks. I mean, I've gone Panthers there.
Panthers, reason, McCaffrey.
Yeah, it's a not a bad reasoning to pick there, right? The Ravens were phenomenal to watch. I thought it was unbelievable how good it was. It was ridiculous. And again, Miami are not trying to win, so I understand that. But some of those throws, we asked if Lamar can pass. Lamar passed, and he passed really, really well. And I don't care who you're playing against, those throws are those throws. They were amazing. The Cardinals looked like the worst team in the league for, 45 minutes or so. And then Kyler kind of got it back together. At the end, he drags the overtime, and then they end up tying the game.
I think they're going to have a little bit of an up and down season.
The Cardinals, I mean,
it's going to be based on his form.
I worry about the battered passes. He's tiny. He looked tiny in college. He looks even tinier in the NFL. 4 battered passes in one game. I mean, that's what
that's one of those things that could keep happening his entire
career.
To. Or you're someone like Breeze and you learn how to deal with that.
Yeah.
Because right now he probably is.
But he's little. He's tiny.
But they probably do. They probably are. Well, they are bigger than the lads who were in college that he was playing against. There's no bones about it. Mm-hmm. He'll have to find a way to win
if he can.
And I think he's got the talent to be able to find a way to win.
It's two very modern quarterbacks. I think it's fair to say that. Have you gone Ravens?
Absolutely.
Yeah, same. Ravens there for me. The Lions Chargers in Detroit. Lions, I mean, what a sickening game that is, by the way. That's a sickening. The timeout call didn't it help them, and it was very Lionsy. The Chargers nearly charged it against the Colts, but for some reason they managed to not charge it, and they go to overtime. Eckler gets the touchdown. I've picked the Chargers at home fairly confidently.
I thought Lions at home in this one.
Sorry, I picked Cardinals on the road.
Cardinals?
Bloody hell, go fair time lucky. I picked the Chargers on the road in Detroit. I thought I liked to watch Phil Rivers again.
They're just a really, really fun side to watch. First of all, they've got offensive weapons everywhere you look. I know Melvin Gordon's obviously one of the best running backs in the league and stuff like that. But Eckler, I think it was reported everywhere that he had one of the highest yards per run. I think it was about 5.6 or something like that. The last game will have increased that significantly. You know what I mean?
Before Dak earned himself some money. I think Austin Eckler might have cost Melvin Gordon some money as well. Absolutely right. So,
one of the reasons that James Conner's in this league right now is the performances that he put in when Lev Bell held out. And, he's one of the, probably a top 10 running back nowadays.
Here's your chance, seize it.
Absolutely, and you wouldn't you?
I think he will as well in this game. Titans went to...
Chargers for me, by the way.
Yeah, same. Sorry, I should have asked. The Titans went and spoiled the Browns' welcome party. They now host the Colts, who...
Browns are booing. Browns fans. Yeah, brilliant. 2 quarters in.
Well done. All the best for that. Good luck with your season. I was mightily impressed with the Titans. I thought that the Fire Zone stuff, and it was amazing to watch. So, if you're going, again, Baker Mayfield isn't the most experienced quarterback. Jacoby Brissett isn't. I don't know if you noticed. They had 5 on the line. I didn't
see that one.
So
it was 6 o'clock or 1.
Yeah, so they had 5 on the line. And every so often a different one would go into coverage, and Baker was like having fits, where the pressure was. And listen, the Browns' offensive line was dreadful. Their starting left tackle, who's rubbish anyway, got just kicked out the game for kicking someone in the face. His backup goes down, so they're down to like the 3rd tackle, and it was just game over. Cameron Wake still. The Colts' offensive line looks better. I think they've got some good players. I was encouraged late with what I saw from Brissett. I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest. I've picked the Titans. I think. I mean, what a week the Titans have had. So Andrew Luck retires. They go and win. Nick Foles breaks his arm or his collarbone. I mean, if you're the Titans, things are looking good for you at the moment. Obviously, the Texans lose as well. Throw that into the mix. I've gone Titans on the
I've gone Titans as well.
Titans at home. I think if the Colts are at home, I might pick the Colts. I don't think it's miles away.
Yeah, I think Brissett will be a good player this season. I think it's going to take a little bit of time and stuff like that.
He's good in the pocket.
Yeah, he's going to need reps as well. That's the thing, isn't it? I know he gets probably more ball than most people during the preseason and stuff like that, but he's going to need it. He's going to need game time. It's been a year, really, hasn't it, since he's played any football?
Yeah.
And that's going to take a little bit of time to just get to match fitness, I suppose, and just see the field and everything slow down a little bit again for him.
Yeah, for sure. Bengals host the 49ers. Bengals played really well in Seattle. I thought they looked much. Again, I tipped them to be really rubbish, and they weren't. I thought what they've done, they've sped the offense up. The ball was getting out of Andy Dalton's hands really, really quickly. I know you picked up John Ross in one of your fantasy leagues because you saw how well he did. The 49ers won a bit of a sloppy one. Again, against Tampa, where Jameis was doing Jameis things. It was Jimmy Garoppolo was hit and miss. It was a bit another pick six. It was a bit blech. I've gone 49ers on the road, but I'll be honest, I
went 49ers and I could have flipped the coin for it. To be honest with you,
to be honest, I'm not confident. I might change that before. I'll let you know. But I think
have we gone all the same so far?
Yeah. Ooh. But we'll maybe not later down the line. I mean, definitely we're going to argue on one.
We're going to disagree at a certain game that's in Lambeau.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Unless you really want that on the wall, Thursday, and then in which case you might have to vote with your head, not your heart.
I will vote in both. I wasn't delighted with what I saw from the 49ers. I'll be honest. I thought they were going to be better than that. Again, it's week one. I don't overreact. I liked what I saw from the Bengals. So Texans, Jags. I've gone Texans.
I'm going to go Texans in most games this season.
They look good.
Just from what I saw from week one. You know, if you ask me to do a pick 'em now for the season, I'm probably going the Texans. And there's the thing with Watson, he excites you, doesn't he? You know he can put up points.
He's going to get hurt, though. He needs to be careful as well.
Of course he is. But they are going to put up points against pretty much everybody. And that defence is good as well.
No Nick Foles now for Jacksonville as well. Again, I thought defensively they looked okay at times, but ultimately they just it was one of those where
that's got to really hurt them. That
it's a killer, isn't it?
I mean,
but the thing is, because Nick Foles has always been injured. This is nothing new for me. I'm just getting the stats up here. Like, to be fair to Gardner Minshew, he comes in and doesn't he break completion records. He does really well and plays well, but.
He was like 15 of 17 or something mad like that.
Yeah, he done alright, to be fair, against the good... like I say good team, I think the Chiefs' defence is rubbish. I'm going to go Texans, yeah.
Texans, mate. Done it.
Okay, Packers, Vikings, we've discussed a lot.
Vikings.
Yeah, Packers. We've also discussed Cowboys, Redskins a lot.
Cowboys.
Yeah, I've seen. Steelers at home to Seattle. Now, the Steelers laid an absolute goose egg in Foxborough, which can happen again. Seattle...
No, they got 3.
Just about. I mean, they kicked that field goal. I mean, that's embarrassing. That's when you know that you've lost the game. We all just think
that lost me a fantasy fucking.
Oh yeah, you had the 0. I mean, that's embarrassing. To kick on that 3 is like we just don't want to get a naught on against that aim. Seattle didn't look brilliant against the Bengals. I thought it was unimaginative again, but Metcalf looked good.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's a star. They've still got they've got good players. It just looked a bit bland, maybe again.
I've got this down as quite a close game.
Yeah.
And I think look, Seattle are famed for it. They're gonna run the ball.
Yeah.
They're gonna run the ball, and I don't think that Steelers defense can do too much about it.
So have you gone Seahawks on the road?
I've gone Seahawks.
I've gone Steelers at home. I think but again,
it's hard. What they need to do for me is obviously they need to establish the run first and foremost. They need to find a way of getting Juju Smith-Schuster into the game more, because it was very easy to get him into the game last season when you had Antonio Brown on one side, and he needs to step up. And I think he's got the talent to step up, and I like everything about him. I like the way that he holds himself and what he does around Pittsburgh and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, he's gonna get double coverage, and he's going to get the best cornerback, and he's going to step up, and he's got to start making these catches.
And Dante Moncrief, someone teach that fella how to catch. I've gone Steelers. I'm not confident again. Just talk about my home team. Giants, Bills.
I've probably gone against the grainy, and I've gone Giants.
Okay, offensive just because of Saquon and a bit of that. I thought that defensively the Bills were really good. Offensively against the Jets, they were... It was pretty terrible. It was 4 turnovers at the beginning. Good team, shouldn't let you back in the Jets offense.
They're one of those they're just like a fucking win it, aren't they? The Bills, you know what a win it is.
They just don't go away. Yeah, they just like nip at your ankles. And defensively, they're so good. They just need Josh Allen to make 1 or 2 plays. I thought at times I was a bit of a Josh Allen believer coming out. It's a hard watch, but he offers you the legs. You mean, and that was kind of what won the game in the end. And he offers you a couple of throws. I thought defensively they were amazing. Can they stop Saquon? I mean, if you're the Giants, you just feed Saquon the ball in this game.
You've got to.
If he doesn't get 15 touches, you're doing something wrong. And that's like a minimum. He's just feeding the ball. So you're going Giants?
Absolutely.
I've gone Bills just defensively. I think they'll win a sneak a close one. Picks of Eli, that kind of thing. Who looks terrible, by the way. Patriots, Dolphins. That was Patriots.
You wanted the team and a reason. The Patriots. The Dolphins is my reason.
Antonio Brown going to play? maybe.
I don't know because of all this stuff that's come out this week.
Yeah, it's a bit dodgy. Yeah, I agree. Let me just get the line of this.
I don't know how they've managed to turn from Super Bowl winners with one of the worst receiving corps in the league
to Gordon.
Super Bowl winners with fucking Antonio Brown, Josh Gordon and fucking Edelman.
It's going. I said their weakness is going to be their receivers looks pretty rubbish.
Their weakness might be the fella with 6 fucking rings on his hand quarterbacking. That's how fucking good an off-season they fucking had, the bastards.
The spread on this game is 19.5. Would you still, if your house depended on it, would you take the Patriots minus 19.5?
Yes.
It's not crazy, isn't it? I think I might put some money on 19.5 for the Dolphins just out of the sheer
absurdity. You may as well just fucking hand it to me and let me spend it, because that's all you're doing anyway.
19.5.
Wow.
I'm going to go to the Patriots though, obviously. Chiefs Raiders division game, both won at the weekend. Raiders looked decent offensively without Brown against.
I've not seen the Raiders game. Obviously, it was 24-16, wasn't it? Jacobs run for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and
85, 86 yards.
Yeah, it was good, and Carr was getting the ball out quick. Again, it was a John Gruden game. John Gruden wants to kill the clock, but with short passes. And he's massive on completions. It's just everything was short underneath, bang, bang, bang. The Denver looked stodgy and it looked a bit blech.
You've just described me.
Yeah,
stodgy and me.
Yeah, same as exactly how I feel right now. The Chiefs.
A bit bloated me. What's your feelings?
No, I'm just fat. The Chiefs. Dynamite on offense.
Yeah.
Again, no
big injury.
No Tyreek Hill. 6 weeks ago. Sammy Watkins just goes down. I'll just catch. I'll step
40 fancy points or something.
I'll score 3 touchdowns, and then obviously they still have Kelsey. It was crazy. They can still run the ball. Defensively, they're not good. I just think
they've got Pat Mahomes.
Yeah,
and Pat Mahomes likes to do one thing. What is that one thing?
Win and throw and score touchdowns. And
put up points. All of the points, all of the time. Sometimes he's not even looking at his receiver stick.
You got a bit cocky on that one, to be fair. Did you see that one? I know I've got Travis Kelce. He could just fucking throw on the ball next time, Pat. Yeah. Give me those points, please. But I've gone Chiefs again. I just don't see.
You're not stupid.
I just don't see. No, I'll be honest. Defensively, it worries me defensively. A good team. Like I think.
Look, I don't think they'll win the Super Bowl.
Right now,
but I do think that they probably win 12 regular season
last week I said I had them when we done our predictions. I said they would be hosting the Patriots in the championship game and win. I think if you put those 2 teams together now, I'd be picking New England. So I think defensively it's really not good. We both spoke Rams Saints. Who did you pick?
I picked the Saints.
On the road. Okay.
I like the Saints, man.
You do, yeah. I've gone Rams. I'll take that win there. Thanks. Broncos then.
Bears.
Broncos Bears. You picked the Bears. I picked the Broncos at home. I just didn't like what I saw from the offense. And again, it's only 1 week.
I've gone the other way. I like what I saw from the Bears defense, and I think that's too much for the Broncos offense.
Yeah, I must admit, Joe Flacco is.
It's one of them. Was it? Am I right in saying that the Bears? They I think they did something at the start of your game, the commentators, and they were leading in. They were like, they just are in so many close games, aren't they? Last season,
every game is a close one.
They lost all of their games by less than 10 points accumulated.
They're brilliant. Don't get me wrong. I think going to Denver's hard as it is.
So, it is, yeah.
So again, I'm not confident in that, but I've just gone for the home team. Falcons hosting the Eagles. This is Sunday night football. Really good game. I like this one a lot. Falcons we spoke about a lot before. We mentioned the Eagles briefly, so we don't have to go too much into it.
I think I've gone against the grain here as well. I think, I like the Eagles going into the season. I like what they were able to do second half and come back. But I just feel like the Falcons have still got a lot on offense to give, and I think we didn't see their true self against the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm going to go Falcons beat the Eagles in a round about a fucking 30 to 27 point game.
I've gone Eagles because I think their defense isn't too dissimilar than the Vikings defense. The front seven's ridiculous, and I think they'll get after Ryan again. He's lost his offensive line, one broke his foot. They didn't look good anyway. They weren't really stopping anyone, and that was meant to be the strength. They spent 2 first-round picks on the line. It didn't look great. So I've gone the Eagles to pressure Ryan, and so I've gone Eagles on the road. And then Jets Browns. Now, speaking of bad offensive lines, we mentioned Mayfield was under a lot of pressure, and the Titans took full advantage. The Browns, it's ridiculous to say this, but it's almost like a must-win game in week 2 because they go 0-2, and then it could get bad quick there, couldn't it? Yeah. It doesn't look great. I've picked them to win just because I don't think the Jets have got the pass rush to really scare them. And I still think the Browns can put up points with the weapons we've got and with the quarterback. I'm intrigued to watch this one though. I don't think it's a nailed on Browns win.
No, maybe not. I think
Darnold looked okay at times, and then looked again. The Bills' defense caused them a few issues. Cleveland's defense, I'm not sure it's got that, but what they have got, they do have Myles Garrett, and they do have Ward, and they've got the odd star. Maybe that's enough. I don't know.
I've picked the Browns, and I probably think 9 to 12 points to win by.
Really?
If I'm honest.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I think it might be like a, sort of 20 points to 9, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think the defense does outfox the Jets, and I think the offense does click in places.
Keep an eye on Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell looked good against the Bills. Right, Chris, thanks very much then. Thanks you guys for watching and for listening at home. Hopefully you've enjoyed. So please do interact with us. If you watch on YouTube, on the comment section. If you're listening to the podcast, again, Twitter, at Cover2TV, at Mr. Blood Red, at Steve Hall. We do love chatting NFL. It's something that we
That's why we're here.
It's literally why we're here. So again, thanks for listening, thanks for subscribing, and we'll be back next week with Cover2 TV. See you later.